Welcome to the first ever episode of the English version of FODAcast, a podcast where we discuss motion design, animation, and everything in between. For this first episode, we bring none other than Henrique Barone, Freelance Cel Animator based in Vancouver, Canada. Henrique is a beast and one of the sweetest human beings in this industry. And in this part one of his episode, we discuss his path from being a graphic design student, falling in love with animation while at college, living in Brazil to study classical animation at Vancouver Film School, landing a dream job at Giant, one of the most beloved studios in our industry, and the perks and challenges of going back to freelancing. Hola, I'm Jar, and with no further ado, I will leave you with the great Henrique Barone. Hi.
So let's go. Okay. Hello.
Hi, Henrique. I have a question for you because Henrique, but in Brazil is Henrique, which for me is easier. So can I call you Henrique?
You can call me whatever you want. Yeah.
Henrique,
but I joked that.
Okay, so go ahead.
I just joked that my daughter, she calls me Henrique. So I guess I'm very fine with both. So like that.
Yeah. So welcome to the first ever episode of FODAcast in English, which I'm kind of nervous because we both are Portuguese, speak Portuguese and Brazilians. But I wanted to do this first episode in English with you because you were the first ever guest of FODAcast in Portuguese back in 2015.
Wow.
So yeah, it only makes sense to make this because I'm a huge fan, of course, and coming full circle, right? So
yeah. No, it means a lot to me too. Like it's a cliche, but time flies. Yeah,
for sure. So how does it feel to be my first a couple of times?
It feels good.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I was really because of this, I was thinking, because I was uploading the latest episodes since the first one on Spotify, and I was so nervous that your episode is the shortest one. It's only 25 minutes because I was really nervous back then.
Oh, really? It's so fun. I wouldn't. Like if you ask me now, I would say it was a much longer because I remember like having a good time, and in my mind it was like a nice long chat. Well, that's surprising. Yeah,
but it was super good. It was super nice. Vito
it was
there
amazing.
too.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, so, and for me back then too. I mean, I think it might have been one of the first time that I was like showing my work on a more of like a podcast like interview sort of thing. So for me, it meant a lot as well.
Awesome. Yeah, and a lot of things changed since then. I mean, when we last talked was like the middle of your career in Giant. So what's roughly in the middle, right? So 2 years in or something like that?
2015, that was, pretty much the middle, yeah.
Okay, so first things first, for those who doesn't know you, I mean, I'm a big fan. Of course, a lot of people know you by now, but could you introduce yourself really quickly for those who doesn't know you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people don't know me, so.
Nah, it's not true.
Yeah, my name is Henrique. I come from Brazil and I live in Canada for 10 years now. Almost 11, I think, actually. I studied design back in Brazil and started working there in the industry as an animator for TV shows. Worked there for around 2 years, a bit more. Then I decided to stop for a bit, come to Canada to study animation at Vancouver Film School. And from there, I got a job here. And life pretty much started to be here, like professionally, personally, and that's where I am now. I'm a freelancer now for 2 years, and I'm a dad for 3.5.
Yes. And but let's rewind it for a second and you tell us like where everybody started, where it became like the flame has sparked for animation, working with that and design and that kind of stuff.
You mean back when I very first started, right?
Yeah, when it was like your interest for animation and you see that as a career or something like back in Brazil.
Yeah, no, I remember this quite vividly actually, because I was doing the graphic design course in Unesp back in Brazil. It's in the countryside of São Paulo, and the course was focused on graphic design, but there was a little bit of design for screens. It wasn't like an animation course or anything like that, but like some of the things we talked about was for screens. And I think After Effects was kind of like starting, or like was the very beginning of things being done in After Effects. It was 2003, 2004.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And is that the beginning for After Effects? I mean,
I don't
back
remember.
then it kind of like it seemed like no one was actually like doing that, at least like around us. Like everything for screens in terms of like motion graphics felt very new. And but then at one point in the middle of the graphic design course, I went to this animation festival in Brazil called Anima Mundi.
Okay.
And it was pretty much there. Like I really remember kind of, okay, there's a whole new world here of like things you can draw and you can express yourself that is not editorial magazines or packaging, which were things that we were talking in university. So that kind of like opened up for me a lot to see that there's a bunch of other possibilities that I never thought about where I can use my drawing skills on, and also like the filmmaking aspect of it, which is not something that you learn on a graphic design course, but I always liked it, kind of like reading and comic books and graphic novels and that kind of stuff. So like seeing drawings moving with compelling stories and engaging characters sort of thing, it was very, very impactful on me, like very much. Like, and from that moment on, I pretty much shifted everything that I was doing on graphic design. Like I tried to cheat it somehow to be for screens.
Yeah. Anima Mundi is not around anymore, right? It ended like sadly, 2 years ago, right?
Yeah. It's when that happened, it was, I mean, hopefully when things change politically in Brazil, they might come back, but right now they are not around, which for me it's so sad to hear, because
it was a really big festival,
I'm sure I'm not the only one who was like deeply influenced by the festival, and knowing that it's not around anymore is a sad thing. Yes,
for sure. Yeah, and you said that you started back in Brazil working already, but you worked for animated series, right? So
yes,
for TV, or because I mean, of course, Netflix wasn't around back then. So
no.
Where were those shows?
I worked for this show called Fishtronaut, which was I think it was the first co-production between Brazil and Canada. So we worked with the characters we were animating. They were actually speaking in English. So we would get the flash file with audio in English, which was kind of funny. And for us back then, right?
Yeah.
And it did became like quite a big series. I think like they did more seasons, and but it was also the whole production was what was interesting about it is that they were like the whole team was learning how to figure out pipeline ways of animating series. At the very beginning, there was a lot of things that people would still do on a very, very frame by frame basis, not taking advantage of what Flash can or animate nowadays. Right?
Oh, okay, yeah. Symbols and that kind of stuff.
So I remember like throughout the production, we would figure out, we can use symbols. And that was kind of like a new thing for everybody. Not for everybody, because people knew what symbol was was for, but maybe we can use this on that way, so it speeds up this part of the process. So it was a very, very cool experience. I started as an intern, and I stayed there for, I think, for a year or something like that. And it was great. It was amazing. And I was there when I was still doing my graduation film. So it was a year of a lot of energy in terms of like
graduation film for the university
for
here in Brazil.
Design, for the graphic design course. Yeah. So like I was saying, like I cheated the graphic design course to be 4 screens. So my graduation project was a TV pilot.
Oh.
Yeah, on Flash.
Lots of work then.
Yeah, it was great, and we applied for grants and for how do you call that? When you get funded.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
The government funds you to keep going with the film. So it was very, like I said, there was like lots of energy and creative energy for the graduation film and having the first job. So it was a nice moment. But that's how it started. Yeah.
We were talking about symbols, and I discovered what symbol was on our first podcast episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you taught me that.
It's okay. Like on my side, I'm happy that I discovered how to save a preset on After Effects.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we are all basic at some level, somewhere. So.
Yeah, I was talking to you before starting recording this, and I was rereading that article you did for Motionographer, I think 2 or 3 years ago. And in there you mentioned that you were kind of tired of the grind in Brazil and wanted a change. And that change came in the form of studying abroad in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So can you talk a bit more about that? Yeah.
So the whole idea of like moving here, it was both professionally and personal. So like I said, like we were working in São Paulo, I think it was 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
And at the end, we felt, because I was working with my wife on the same studio. So I met my wife on the graphic design university, and we worked together for the first years of our careers.
Which is insanely talented. Fer Ribeiro.
Yeah.
Those who doesn't know her, she's amazing.
Her. Yeah. So the beginning of our journey in the university, we would do a bunch of stuff together. So the graduation film that I was mentioning was with her. So the graphic design final project was me and her as a team. And like after 3 years there, we felt. Things can be rough in São Paulo in terms of jobs and stuff, and it's like everything. Of course, that you don't need to be part of this, but the city pushes you to work for live to work, right? Not work for a living. And we felt that after like 3 years living there. And in the third year, I was already on another job, and we were freelancing a little bit here and there. And but we also felt that because we were working on the animation industry and we had a graphic design degree, we also started feeling like maybe it is a good thing to stop a bit, to pause and go and actually go learn animation on an animation school and take this as a one step back so we can maybe do 2 steps forward later on.
Yeah.
And that was the rationale behind the decision of coming here. Like, okay, let's work as hard as we can now in São Paulo, like save some money and pay for a course which we had heard good things. And a big part of choosing Vancouver Film School was because you do a short film, like your final project is a short film, so you touch every aspect of the production. And that was amazing because throughout the course, I discovered that I do love animation, but my wife, for instance, she discovered that she liked design more. And I think if it wasn't for the possibility to touch every aspect of a short film, maybe we wouldn't have that clarity. And that was very, very helpful on moving on with our careers. And
how did it feel to be back to be a student again? I mean, for we Brazilians, going for a year in Canada can be very expensive. And you mentioned that you went there just for the sake of studying, not wanted to work for a year, just focusing on that program. And you got the itch to work sometime, or you just study for a whole year?
It's funny because the course is very intense, and we knew it before coming. So I don't think we ever consider working while studying. And that's why we also really made sure we saved enough money for a year and a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so we could really focus on studying. And if you do want to stop and be a student again, I would highly recommend that you put your mind into learning and like being a student again, if you can, obviously. And but I just loved it, and I was being a student again, but it was also like learning so many new things, and kind of like developing or further developing drawing skills, but really learning animation principles for the first time. Because in the TV series production back in Brazil, like I said, like people were learning, and even people who started as an intern, like I did, the more senior people, they were teaching them like animation principles and how to in between a scene or like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, but it was never like, say I had mentors like on this production, people who would really come and help, and I have them all very close to my heart. But to be on a class and like sit with people and with teachers that, okay, you have this assignment and that's what you're gonna learn in this assignment. I don't know about you, but I'm very I know some people, they learn well with tutorials and kind of like they are good at, okay, I'm gonna learn by myself now. I'm not that kind of personality. I do like to, okay, here's an assignment for you to learn this, and then I put my mind into it and I learn, and then I move forward.
Yeah, I try to be like you, but I'm more kind of the other guy.
Yeah, kind of like, yeah. People learn on different ways for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're talking about this because you worked with TV series in Brazil, and then you made a pilot for your graduation project, and then went to Vancouver, because back then I think that Vancouver wasn't this hub, let's say, that is now for motion graphics, because you went there to really study to make those type of work, like TV series, animated series, and that kind of stuff. And you ended up in one of the most beloved studios ever, that is Giant, which is a motion graphics studio. Yeah. So how that happened? Like, you wanted to work with series, but ended up in motion graphics? Yeah,
that's a funny story. Like even the word motion graphics, it wasn't on my radar, like at all. When I came, when I came, I came to study animation and work on, because Vancouver was actually a hub for TV shows. Yeah. And the movie industry, like there's tons of like VFX studios here. But yeah, motion graphics, I don't think it was.
Yeah, when I say it wasn't a hub for motion graphics back then, it's because I didn't know that.
I
discovered Vancouver because Giant, back in 2013 or something.
Exactly, yes. But yeah, like I came with this mind of like, okay, if I do well on the course, I can maybe, even back then, like we had our pilot always with us. So like, who knows, maybe we can present our idea to one of the TV series studios here in Vancouver. maybe they buy it and maybe they produce the series. Kind of like we were on that mentality of like our career is here with TV series, and back then Pixar had a studio here as well, which they closed. But it was like, wow, maybe we can work there someday, and like full of dreams sort of thing, on career dreams on that.
Yeah, I didn't know that Pixar had a studio in Vancouver.
Yeah, they had a small studio here for a short period of time. I think they did some shorts here. I know they did like a Rex one where it goes on a bath time parties, something. But yeah, it didn't last long. But anyway, my radar was more into these names, like TV series studios, Pixar, and then like yeah, I guess Pixar would be the ultimate goal. But yeah, then so like I finished the VFS course with you finished the course with actually 2 short films, one fully classically done, like drawings on paper, frame by frame, scanned, and like very, very traditional process, which I loved it. Yeah, okay. Like you actually finish with a big pile of drawings.
Yeah, how many pages is it?
I don't remember, but like it was like that big. Yeah. I can't remember. I have a picture of me like holding it. It's
oh yeah, cool. I think I saw that. Yeah.
You saw that?
Yeah. I think I saw it.
Yeah, and then you finish with another one, which is a flash one, which you do on the either on the very last month of the course or on the 2 last months of the course. I can't remember, and maybe the course changed it right now these days. So I finished with these 2 shorts. And like I said, my mind was into film festivals and like in TV series. So I started sending this to film festivals, applying them to film festivals, and kind of trying to basically show to as many people what they could see. Even like social media, it wasn't like a big thing back then. I think I don't remember. I don't know when Instagram started, but I think it was around 2005, 2006, or somewhere there. I don't remember Instagram being a thing. It was the social media was Facebook and Twitter, I think.
Yeah, I remember I didn't have a phone that had Instagram back in 2012.
Yes, exactly. I remember. I mean, I got my first phone here. My first smartphone here, right?
Yeah.
So the way I would try to show my film to people was to apply into festivals and
okay, yeah, makes sense.
And putting it on YouTube, but then there was a whole thing about maybe you can't have your short on YouTube because then the festivals won't pick up, and the film festivals circulate. You should wait a year.
Yeah.
So for the festivals will be something new, but I think I ended up posting on Vimeo or yeah, I think I posted on Vimeo.
We're talking about the idea. This idea is not working.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
Okay.
I posted both actually. So one is called "This Idea Is Not Working," and the other one is called "Tough West."
Okay. Yeah.
So I posted them on Vimeo, and I kind of that's where you put your film to kind of like I would like email people and say, oh, that's my short, like pretty much like recruiters, right? Like, okay, I just finished this VFS course, and I love doing this and that, and that's my graduation film. If you feel that's fitting for what you're doing right now, we can talk, and kind of like trying to put myself out there, basically, right?
So you're basically trying to find a job no matter where, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it was a job, but like I guess it was a job, but it was also kind of like, I think that what people do nowadays with social media, hey, here, like kind of like presenting yourself and using Instagram as a portfolio piece. That wasn't how people was going about back then. So I uploaded on Vimeo and I would send emails. Like I remember sending a bunch of emails for people I admire. I remember sending, one thing that I really remember that it was an amazing thing that happened. There's this documentary called Everything is a Remix.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Yeah.
So I was a big fan. I am a big fan of this documentary. And I remember sending an email to the director of this documentary and say, okay, that's my work. And then he replied, say, oh, maybe we can work together on this piece that I'm working on, which was like not a big documentary, but it was something small that he was working on. And it was pretty much, okay, I guess I can, with this short film, open some doors, sending emails.
Yeah.
And I remember it was a very good feeling. But yeah, back to the story on motion graphics. So I put my short on Vimeo, and I just left it there. And again, I had no idea that Vimeo was where the motion graphic community was. Mm-hmm. So one day someone told me, oh, I think your film was staff picked. And I was like, what's that? I had no idea. And then I went to see the views on my film, and they were high, and they were popping and all that. And then I think that was the first time that I started seeing this other community of the motion graphics industry. And then I don't know, I think I can't remember, like maybe a month later or so, my second film, the Tough West one, it got picked as well. And maybe Vimeo was lacking on animation pieces back then. So yeah, and then at some point there was an article on Motionographer about my classical short film, and I think that's where I that was the very first time that my name bounced on the motion graphics community.
Yeah.
And then like motion, I didn't know what Motionographer was. I would go to Cartoon Brew, I would go to Katsuka, all these other frame by frame blogs, right?
Yeah.
And then Motionographer, that's a completely new thing, and I think from there, Jorge saw it, and then he sent me an email. And he invited me to do a freelance for Giant, which then I did. And then I went there, I went on the studio, and then I met Jay, and then I met everybody. And they were also starting, and they had no one that was doing frame by frame. I think back then, frame by frame wasn't a thing really on the pipeline. It was kind of I think Buck was doing it, and other studios were starting to try it, and but I think even Buck was kind of it wasn't like it is now. It is
for sure.
Now frame by frame is it's part of the pipeline on every single studio, right?
For sure, yeah.
Back then it's okay, maybe let's try to mix 3D with drawings and see what happens, and maybe do stop motion with drawings and see what happens. And it was really amazing. I did this one freelance job, and then I did another one, and then we got along so well to the point that Jay thought it was a nice thing to have a frame by frame guy in the team, and put drawings on the pipeline more and more, and we were exploring doing rough drawings or rough passes so that people can clean up in After Effects, and like I said, let's do a stop motion with drawings. It was very those early years that I was at Giant, there was lots of experiments, and people and I, we were very open to try it. Which and looking back, it for me, it was again, it was a new industry to me. Everything was new to me, so it really felt it didn't really feel like going to work at all. It was very much having fun. The people were amazing. I was drawing and having fun, and kind of it was it was like a dream job, really.
The cool thing is that you guys kind of grew together. I mean, both the studio and the guys there, because when you started was when Jorge was starting to not starting, but he just left an internship to go there, and then he had Lucas too there. So the studio was growing, and the people in it was growing too. It was really fun to see. I think
Lucas was there before me, 3 or 4 months before me, or something like that. So it was very I think subconsciously we knew there was something like cool happening. The fact that we were all uh, being like allowed to explore, like, and that speaks volumes to like what an amazing um, guy Jay is, and Jay and Leah back then, because they were both like doing the creative direction. Now they do separate, right? But it was amazing. Like, it was really really something special, and I think we all know it. We all like back then we all talked about it, like how special that is, when we were aware of it. I guess I was aware of it.
we did too. We saw this special thing coming on. It was really good to see that. And you spent how many years you spent at Giant, like a full time?
I think it was 6 years. I think it was a little bit less than 6 years. Yes, around 6 years. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I think I freelanced for, might have been 3 or 4 months, or so I think in total, like from the very first freelance time that I did, it might be a little bit more than 6 years, but like higher than all, I think like 6 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so happy, like when I got back to freelancing, that Giant was kind of one of my first gigs after I got back to freelancing. And we were working a project to like, oh man, I'm gonna work with Henrique now. Like, it was super funny that I didn't even do like cel animation frame by frame stuff. And then 5 years when we talked about in the podcast, like in 2015, and then some years later we were working together. It was super cool.
No, it was fun, like to work with you, because I remember like you would email me too, like, hey, I think I remember you sending me a very rough drawing, like on a
sorry bugging you so much,
sort of like paper no, not at all. Like a paper texture, and it was like a little face kind of turning into something.
Oh, that was horrible. Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were trying, you were starting, and you were like that's the thing. Like, it's sometimes not about what you see on screen, but it's about what you kind of you gather from the way you speak, the way you talk, the love it's there, and like some years later you just hired it back, so you did well.
Yeah, I think things do happen. I mean, but yeah, we're talking about these special years at Giant and how you loved working there, but you made the decision to leave them after 6 years. And the whole article on motionography is kind of about that, leaving that dream job to pursue something else, right? Which at the moment was more a personal decision because your daughter was just born, right? So you wanted to spend more time with family. So can you talk about a bit more about what made that decision happen?
That was probably one of the hardest decisions on my professional personal life, because again, like when I started, I didn't decide to kind of like be where I was, but then it turned out to be an amazing thing, and then I had to decide if I wanted to keep going or not, right? And it took me a while, but eventually it did make sense to be a freelancer, so I could have more flexibility and like start the day earlier if I need, start the day later if I need, and go pick up at daycare every day, and have long breakfast if we are all into it at the day, sort of thing. But it was a very hard decision, and it's fun. Like after 6 years, like 6 years is a long time. So when you are 6 years into something, it's normal for you to kind of like start to think about like, do I want to, I don't know, eventually to become the director, the studio that I am, or go do freelancing, or go open a studio. Like people, like careers, they shift and they move and they go forward, right? But the one thing that I knew is that I didn't like being only a director. It wouldn't be a thing I think I knew it wouldn't fulfill me the way that I needed to be fulfilled, because my love is on the craft.
Yeah.
And if I say like open a studio, I would become something else completely, and I would probably like not be happy to the way I am now. For instance, that I draw for a living, and so being freelance is kind of like it felt right on that sense as well. That okay, that way I can have flexibility, and I'm still gonna be an animator. I'm gonna be drawing. I'm gonna be focusing on the craft, and there was a part of me that was afraid about the being my own boss sort of thing, and kind of like replying emails and doing quotes and hunting for jobs if it's a dry moment sort of thing. So this part I did feel confused and like scared even, but at the same time I knew that I was like I think I knew I was organized enough to the point that wouldn't make my freelance career go bad. Like if I had to send emails, if I had to quote stuff, I knew how to do it. I just didn't want to do just that for a living. I wanted to do like, I don't know, at least like 80% of like drawing and then 20% of like managing my freelancing career sort of thing.
Got it.
And so all that came into the decision, right? How it would be, and then like financially too. I was afraid of like I needed in my mind, right? I needed to do at least as much as I was doing at Giant Ant for that to make sense. And then a lot of people said, okay, maybe your first year is going to be a little drier, and dry moments happen and that kind of stuff. So I was kind of like considering everything. To the point that my first year I was very, very like say if I had like a day or two that I had nothing to do, I would feel, oh man, I should feel all these days, and like and right now on the second year I am way more relaxed on that matter. Like if I have like a week where things didn't really line up well and I do have like a gap week, I'm kind of happy actually. Yeah. Then I have to kind of like get a rest and like I still do try obviously to like line up everything. The first year it was quite amazing. Like
it's because like not even with jobs, but with the free times you have, you kind of feel the obligation to do something related to work. But then after some time you just relax a little bit because we all need it, right?
Yeah. So there was a big learning curve for me. Like saying the first year, I double booked myself a couple of times just to not say no to projects, which is like,
yeah.
Okay, you can do it, then you put long hours and you make it happen and all. But like, if you don't really need it, like that's just
burn you
out. I mean, be kind of like be kind to yourself, sort of thing. And
for sure.
Yeah, and but that was a big learning curve, which I'm still getting better at, and I still try to line up things as much as I can, and yeah, kind of like putting myself on hold.
The next question I was to ask was about that, but I think we covered that really well. So
yeah, no, I mean I'm loving to freelance, and I think it was the right decision. I really do think it, and I don't see myself not being a freelance for I don't know 5 years to come or so.
A studio or something like that?
Not right now, no. I think I'm fortunate enough to be on a place where my freelance career is quite solid, and I think if I keep up, it will keep being solid. Like to the point that like again, like I don't see the reason to bring this extra level of like managing and like documents and paperwork, like not right now. Like I just got used to the to the pace of things with freelancing. And like I say, like I started running this year, like I was like, so I'm kind of like, okay, I can put time for myself like this time of the day. And then like some days I can start a little later and it's fine if I don't finish what I have to do. I put some more hours. So this flexibility. So I went freelancer for the flexibility.
Yeah.
But then you need to learn to be flexible on yourself. And I think now it's a learning curve. And I think I learned that more in this second year, like way more than the first one. So like I do feel like just stay pretty much like keep up with the way things are right now.
Yeah, like you've been, I feel a lot of what you're talking about. Like I spent like the 3 past years being a freelance, and it's really true. I mean, it's really good actually, like those sides that you have more flexibility and that kind of stuff, but you have to manage those other part of stuff like emails, being on top of everything and replying and be available and that kind of stuff that freelancers involve, and taxes too.
Totally.
But yeah, so certainly has perks and difficulties of being.
Exactly.
I think it's more like on the phase of life, like you said in the article, it's what you want to deal with your life and then adjust.
I mean that like when people ask me about like shall I go freelance or have a full-time job, like I don't think I would recommend people say like to start careers as a freelance. I think the years are spent at Giant, they were like crucial, like so like it was the foundation, it was the basis for me to understand like how a studio work, how pipeline work, how is the client involved, like when does cel animation come in, how it comes in, like you know, how to render things, and like to the little things, like to this, like what's a good plugin to do this, and I think if you just go, you graduate and you go freelance. I mean, obviously you can learn all that by yourself, and nowadays you can learn everything, right? You can just Google it and it's all there. But I think you can, like in front of a computer, you can't learn like about relationships, and that's big thing. And at the end, it's just about it, really. It's like you will get better eventually in your career. Like if you keep drawing, if you keep like practicing, and like you will never get worse. You'll just get better because you're practicing. But like relationships is like actually, if you don't practice, you can get worse at them.
I mean, it's because the work is never just the work
which I think
itself,
we
right?
all felt on the pandemic. Everybody's a little bit rusty, I guess, in like talking and kind of like being social. So it's like it goes to say like practice relationships and like be on a studio. It's probably the most important thing on every career, and it is so on motion graphics.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the work is not just the work itself, right? It's not just it's everything else involved. I mean, the first job I've in a studio was the latest one. I mean, before Buck, it was littl, and I never worked in a studio before. I mean, I had 6 years of career by then, and it was only me, like working as the only motion, the only editor in the agency or something like that. And I learned in 1 year, like, which I never learned in 3 or 4 years of career before. Yeah. So it's pretty important.
It is crazy. Yeah. Like the fact, I mean, walking around and picking everybody's shoulders and kind of like coffee, small talks, it all counts to the learning experience of being somewhere with people you admire, you like to be with, and
yeah, for sure. I can't wait for the pandemic.
So I think like freelancing has a I think freelancing has a time to like I think freelancing has a time to I think there's a time for everything. There's a time to explore and grow, and then there's a time to be freelance if that's what you want, and then there's a time to go do a studio if that's what you want.
Yeah, how we were speaking about the pandemic now. I mean, it's such a cliche topic, but how did it feel for you? Because you started freelancing like a little bit before that, right? So
Yes,
you're now stuck at home, like working from home.
Yeah.
And how was that experience? I mean, you used to work with people every day, around people.
Yeah, it's funny because, like I said, like the first year, I was like, it was a bit intense to me to kind of like I guess I put myself on that mode where like I don't think I can have a lunch with anyone because I'm gonna be losing like half an hour, and I maybe need this half an hour to complete a job that I'm double booking or that kind of stuff. So that was kind of like my first year was a little bit like that, and so I didn't. It was a bit solo this first year because I guess I decided so, and then even though there wasn't a pandemic back there in this first year, I already started feeling like being on a team again and kind of like working with people, and then a pandemic came, and there was kind of like I had to be solo again, like because there were the circumstances, and but I do miss a lot like being around people. I'm quite an introvert and kind of like shy and quiet, but I mean, I guess I discovered that more and more, like being a freelancer. I do like being around people, even if I'm just there, like listening and
just feeling the
watching,
presence
like,
around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I do miss them. If I ever decide to go back to a studio life, I think that would probably be the biggest reason to kind of like be with people and yeah. But the pandemic itself. Here in Vancouver, it was hard. Obviously, we had 2 months of where things were closed, and pretty much only supermarkets were open, and the daycare was closed, and so we had these couple months that were hard. But comparing to other places, we had it easy here. Like things started to open up way earlier than other places, with restrictions and blinds everywhere and social distance and all that. But I guess we were able to manage it emotionally well, yeah. It's like the one thing that is a relief for me is that I feel that for my daughter, like I don't think it had a big impact on her, like other than like a couple of months where the playgrounds were closed, like where the months that like, everything was closed.
Yeah.
Like then things started to open up again slowly, and I think that was probably the big. I think that's probably why I'm saying it was okay. It wasn't as hard for us. I think if the pandemic was a bit harder on her, it would have been harder on me as well.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I mean, if you look back in Brazil, there's people like a year, like more than a year at home with kids and all, and we didn't have this experience here. And I can't imagine. Like I can't. That must be. Like horrible, and we were fortunate enough to not have that kind of situation here.
We're talking about working with people and being around people, but as you said at the beginning of the podcast, you have a really talented wife that you guys worked on some projects together from time to time, right? Like personal and commercial. So you kind of have like a tiny little studio in there. I mean, if you want to, you guys usually work together a lot in projects. How's that working with your wife in the project?
So that's a big question. We started. Oh no worries. No, it's a nice question actually, because we started doing things together back in university, and we would be very very much kind of like doing everything together. We came here together. And then, like I said, like in the VFS course, I think it was the first moment where we started to realize that And when I say together, like back then, it's kind of like we would both do everything. Okay, let's think about the idea together, and then let's split the scene so we both design a little bit. Let's split the scene so we both animate a little bit. And it's kind of like the more we discover who we are and what we like, and the more we accept that we are different and we like different things. I guess the last we start doing everything together, and we start like allow space for me to explore more my animation side and her to explore more her design side. So we after VFS we kind of like we would get like freelance work together because of the financial aspect of it, I guess. But then like the creative sides were on different places, and it was nice because it was nice when we went to do something together again after I don't know 2-3 years of like kind of not working together. Might have been more, might have been less, I don't know. But then it was nice because when we decided to do something together again, it was like, okay, maybe you can design and I don't say anything about the design. I can animate and I don't say anything about animation. I mean, obviously we can comment and kind of like, but it's you are in charge of the design and I'm in charge of the animation, and that was a much better partnership, and that we learned in our career because we were both like being part of a team, right? Like I was a Janet, she had her job, and we were understanding more like where our skills would fit better. But so yeah, like nowadays we both have our jobs and we both do different things, but we do things together like every now and then. Like we did this one especially like when it's like say like a love project, like one client came with this one idea and it would be from scratch and it had to be designed and animated, and even like the idea, like for those kind of projects we worked together. We worked in this one called Supergirl.
Yeah, beautiful.
It was like that was an amazing collaboration. Was this this woman had this amazing project with preschool kids where she would do poems with them. So she approached us with a poem written by a kid, and it had to be animated and pretty much like created. So that was just a perfect project to work on.
Yeah, super cute. The voiceover is really. I mean, the project entirely is really good. Yeah. I love that one.
And that was so fun. And we did another one called Frames for Future, which was about the UN goals for the planet. We got the inequality, to end inequality, and I think I don't remember so the UN has some goals I think it's 2030. Can't remember.
Yeah, so, if you're watching this on YouTube, I will put the links down below for those videos.
But yeah, that was another project that I did with her. But for the most part, we both have our careers now. She's a freelancer too. She does like illustrations and design and for TV series, for bunch of things, motion graphics as well, and I've been freelancing. But every now and then when there's a project that maybe her design would be a good fit here, like we talk about it, and if she's available, and
that's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, we pretty much covered this question, but I'm not a father. And you pretty much cover it as the obvious reason that it changed, but how being a father changed you as a professional perspective? Like, you feel that it changed it a little bit, like how you work? I mean, you try to finish things earlier, so spend more time with your daughter or something like that, or not obvious reasons for whatever reason. I don't have kids, so sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
specific question.
Oh, no worries, that's cool. On the practical side of things, I think yeah, like the being flexible is like it's the main thing. Like like I do finish my day say around 5 when I need to pick up her at daycare, and if there's say if we have like a bumpy morning and like I'm late to work, it's I don't get mad at myself. It's just life happening, and that's how it is. So on the practical side, it's like if I have to start the day early, like we're starting like so it's 7 a.m. for me when we started this interview here, and I do this sometimes with work. If I do need to put like an hour more, 2 hours more, I have the possibility to just do that and finish the day earlier if I started earlier. So it's it varies a lot on the practical side. On the personal side, I I think like that flexibility thing is like it's the main thing. It's kind of accepting that it's okay to be flexible.
Uh-huh.
And I think before I was a lot more by the clock sort of thing. I mean, in terms of the project I would like to take, I think I did say no to projects that I wasn't. I mean, that's not only for being a father. I think being a father kind of turns into like it puts more, even more aware of stuff.
Okay, yeah, makes
And
sense.
so I did say no to projects. Well, that doesn't make sense. I don't want my daughter to kind of like live on a world and that kind of stuff is being promoted, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, I'm super excited to work with people doing, say like kids book. It's been a big thing that I'm trying to do more, like kids books trailers, or even it's funny now, even like TV series, which is how it started. Now Netflix is doing a bunch of amazing things and amazing and good looking and with super cool aesthetics and
Yeah,
I do feel like kind of being on that place where like, oh, like I would love for my daughter to watch that sort of content. You know what I mean?
So working on TV series is a thing now? Like, could be a thing?
For me?
Like, yeah, like working for several months in a project or something like that? As a freelancer, of course.
I never got like a long-term contract like that. But there is all kinds of jobs on TV series. You can do like a little thing. You can work on the opening. You can like do like a dreamy section.
Yeah,
where
for sure.
the character is completely out of the style of the show, sort of thing. So there is like I don't think I would get a contract where okay, let's work for 7 months on this show. But like there's bunch of possibilities there.
Yeah, for sure.
And but yeah, just in terms of like content that I'm happy to do these days. Like I said, kids books, like there's some amazing trailers for kids books.
For sure.
And I'm trying to kind of like get my hands there a little bit too.
It is funny how the type of job changed too in those years, right?
Yeah. I mean, I still
how many
do
possibilities
like,
there are.
Yes. And I think, I mean, I still do kind of like the classic motion graphic kind of explainer sort of thing, kind of like with characters, obviously. But like kids books, they are amazing. And I think it's a whole different industry, but the level of the art and the explorations that you see on kids books, I admire it so much, and it's so inspiring. Like maybe because that's what I'm seeing more, but like it's inspiring me a lot more than like motion graphic piece these days. And again, maybe that's because that's where I am
by
these
these references now.
Yeah. But there's a level of design and art on kids books that is like I haven't been seeing these days in the motion graphics. I think in the motion graphics industry. The, I mean, yeah, I probably should be following more. That's maybe on me, because that's another thing. Like I told you, I might be rusty for a bunch of these questions because I haven't been really
you're
like.
not alone. I mean, I don't remember the last time I opened Vimeo.
Yeah, okay.
It's a shame
Yeah.
to say that out loud, but Vimeo kind of like it's
Yeah,
so a lot of
Vimeo, I
places
know it's
and
sad. Yeah,
so many
but I mean,
things
the
to do.
motion graphic pieces, they are there, right? Like, oh yeah, Vimeo was huge. Yeah, they decided to go another direction, right? Kind of like.
You know what I do now is like
I don't understand the direction. Yeah.
I follow the people on Instagram, and if I see something I like, I go directly to their website or their studio website or something like that. I don't go to Vimeo anymore to see.
Yeah, I think Instagram is kind of like the main source of motion graphics inspiration, which is kind of it's a little bit sad to me because I've been trying more and more to be like away from my phone. Like I don't have like personal social media anymore. Like I pretty much use Instagram to follow motion graphics professionally, and I post professionally as well. But like I don't go on Facebook. I don't have like a personal account on the Instagram. And
speaking about
like I miss kind of like sitting to work and then okay, let's just do 15-20 minutes of like inspiration on Vimeo here before I start my day. Yeah. And that doesn't happen anymore because it's on the phone, and it's a different interaction that I have with your phone than with your desktop workstation.
I mean, before it was like the first thing starting the day was open Vimeo
and kind of like exactly. Now
speaking of social media, it happens a really strange thing with the Twitter these days, right? Like someone hacked your Twitter.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, it got hacked. It's got like someone stole my account. So I've been sending emails.
So
to
it's not back yet.
Not back yet, no. But I'm hopeful that it will come back because they I got an email from. So the thing is that it takes a while, right? You send an email to the Twitter support team, and it's huge. I imagine but they do reply, and so right now they suspended the account, and I got an email asking me to confirm some stuff, so they can pretty much confirm that I am me. So I'm hopeful that it will come back eventually. But it was very shocking,
how somebody wake up and I'm gonna hack this man account today.
I know, and like for nothing, I don't know.
People, man. Henrique, we are kind of 1 hour now for talking, but I wanted to ask you a last question. I mean, two last questions. One is, it's kind of, we Brazilians that wanted to work abroad, it's kind of obvious, but you're 10 years in Canada now, and you don't have kind of work that keeps you there. So first,
because of freelancing.
Yeah, you could do that everywhere, like anywhere you want. So
definitely.
First is how to, I don't know if it's a pretty complicated question, but how you see being an immigrant in another country, because it's really, I can't imagine because I've never been there. It's a really different reality from Brazil. And why not come back as you don't have anything that holds you there? Speaking of work, of course.
Yeah. Did you say why not come back? That was the question. Yeah. Being an immigrant is I think Canada is amazing on that matter. I think it's probably one of the countries that are more open to receive immigrants. I never felt any kind of judgment or any kind of, I was never downplayed or anything like that. So that's amazing because there's obviously stories that are different.
Yeah.
And I mean, also like the way I started here was through VFS, and VFS is it's a very international school. So in our class at VFS, there are people from all over the world. So that probably happened on that transition. The first years, we still have a lot of friends from other countries, and even Jana, there were people from other countries too, like Jorge and Lucas, and Nico was from Brazil too. So it was kind of international too, and so. Being an immigrant, like, it was never a big question, like on my mind, on our mind. I mean, there's always like the side of like missing family and being out of your home country sort of thing. But I think we always took like kind of like one step at a time. It was always about what will happen next, and people would always ask like, so are you coming back or not? And it was always a very, very hard question. We would just reply, we're gonna do this next, which was kind of the this question in the first years up until we become citizens. It was always about the next step to the paperwork. Okay, I'm just gonna get you this paperwork. I need to get my work permit, and then I need to get my permanent residency. Yeah. And then, I'm just gonna apply for citizenship. So in this kind of like step by step, like the years passed, and we would always visit family. We would always go back to spend the holidays there. Like we would spend a month or so.
And it's not like
it was very kind of like smooth process. And then when things become more real, it's when we decided to have a kid here, and that's a big root.
Yeah.
And
because she's a little Canadian.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, seeing her grow up here, like I said, Canada is an amazing country. Like, you go outside and there's like playgrounds every 5 blocks is a playground, and you can enjoy the city outdoors, and so I think that's
You're talking about that, and Cyrus going off in my window here.
So it's like we miss family a lot, obviously, but I guess right now our intention is to try to visit as more we can, try to have them visit as much as possible. But I think life it's pretty much going on from here.
Yeah.
And if we ever go back, maybe for retirement, I don't know.
And it's not like you've been there for 10 months too, right? It's more than 10 years, so you have a whole life in there as well.
Yes. Then you kind of like, place. It's funny, like being somewhere else. It's amazing, and it's like every little thing you do is an achievement sort of thing. Like the very little things, like where do I buy I don't know, like batteries, and you don't know that because you've never been here, and then you figure it out. And then where do I buy this sort of food, and then you go and figure it out. So like there's a bunch of like very small achievements that you keep getting them. And then, like, how do I find a daycare for a kid? And then, okay, I got it. And then how do I open a company, which we have now for tax purposes? And then we did. How do I don't know, plan for retirement? How does it work here? And like all that. So you kind of go like learning step by step to the point that like I know how to do things here that I don't know what to do in Brazil, because we came here and we didn't have to do all these things back in Brazil. So it's like you do. I mean, right now we are Canadian citizens, and the whole process takes a while, and it takes a while for a reason. When you become at least for us, when we became citizens, you do feel that you built something here, you did something here, and it's like there's a point where you feel that you have two homes, and then there's a point there you feel your home is like somewhere else now, and then you I guess you accept it, and I don't know.
Yeah,
we are thankful for it. Yeah.
There was one time that I talked to my wife, like, it's funny living in another country or even another city that sometimes you go take another street to go to a bakery or something. It feels like a vacation because it's something new and you never saw that before.
Yeah, we still go to neighborhoods here that, I never thought about it.
Yeah.
Like this summer we are, like, I'm excited to go to water parks around here because it's been so hot. So I've been, okay, where can I go to a water park? And it's kind of new. It's exciting to kind of, okay, that's how you do it. And then you go and you discover a new place, and it's kind of like and we never done it because I guess that's a thing you do more with kids. Not that you have to, but but yeah, like we went camping for the first time last year, and we never had camped in Brazil, or like
we need it.
So it was like, so it was again like a different experience where we were learning how to do new things. But yeah, it's exactly like you said. It's like even if it's a new city, like you do get this. If you move from Fortaleza to São Paulo, it's very different. Yeah, and I'm sure you can relate to the feeling that I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Henrique, as I said, I don't want to take too much of your time. So no, not at all. Maybe in 1 hour or something. Love chatting. Yeah, for sure. Thank you again. But I wanted to ask you a little bit, one little thing before we leave. We started this podcast. I started this podcast because I was super new at the time, and I wanted to speak with my heroes. So one of the big things I wanted to do with this podcast was to make this gap between who's starting and your heroes a little bit less big. Yes, that's the word, less big. Make this gap less big. So as I always question this, I always make this question. Man, I'm getting nervous. I always make this question: if you have kind of advice for people that are starting, like it can be general for all kinds of levels, but especially for those who are starting in this whole new field and I don't know, want to work in it or be a freelancer like Henrique or something like that. Yeah, definitely. Let me think about that one. I think for when we're starting, right? Like I think one big thing is to not be afraid of like communicate a lot. Kind of like don't be afraid of like saying hi, like you did. Like don't be afraid of like saying hi and kind of like show your work and it's a cliche, but the worst thing that can happen is for people to not reply your email, and maybe it's because they're busy. But I mean, right now I don't feel happy about it, but I do have to skip some. But because I did this and people replied to me when I was starting, I make a big effort to reply to most of the emails that I get. Even if sometimes I take some time, you know that. If I take like months or so, like I do get back and, hey, sorry, I was busy, but here's what I think about this question that you made. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that is doing this, because a lot of, people help people. And so like communicate and don't be afraid of making questions is one big thing for beginners, I think. Like the other thing, I think doing personal work is important at the beginning. Maybe not a short film, maybe not a because it's funny, because I think someone was posting about the other day about the fit. He tried to make a short film, but he couldn't, and then he was posting talking about it. It was pretty much like too big of a bite. Yeah. So I would encourage people. If you do feel like you can do it, try it. But there's so much of the content that is done today that is like small little things, and you can explore, and so I think there's room there for like small loops and very short stories, kind of like comic strips, sort of gags. It's a good thing, and it's hard these days because you get so influenced by social media that it's so hard to do a thing that it's you. Like back then, like I said, we went to an animation festival, and it's curated, and you saw a whole bunch of different things. It's just put in front of you on a movie session, right? And these days, because you choose what you follow, you ended up just seeing more of the same. And the algorithm and all this talk about social media, it's very hard to do something that is original, that it feels original. But I think like one advice that I would have is to, I don't know how to put it, is maybe like try to not follow trends too much, which would kind of mean don't be looking at social media all the time, because at the end, I don't think it helps much, to be honest. Like kind of like, I think like being there and kind of like experience life and feeling things will bring more to your work other than like seeing things. It kind of goes back to kind of like relationships are more important than the draft, the craft and the practice. So like I would say like study the principles, but also kind of like feel the principles. Say like when you're walking, I always say that, like when you're walking and then when you stop, I don't know, pay attention to your body. Like if you stop, your head goes a little bit forward, and that's overlapping your arms, how they're doing. If you're running, your body is moving differently. So kind of like feeling things, or like every time that I'm carrying something, I do like I can't help but make like a pendulum thing, and that's a cliche, I guess.
You run into a post because you're looking to your arm.
Yeah, exactly. But like bottom line is kind of like that there are things to be learned that are not on books or tutorials or social media, especially. That's just kind of like, and yeah, and I think I like back to social media. I think like posting stuff is important as well, but try to not make I don't know. I try to use social media as a portfolio piece. Like I don't post everything. I don't know. Like I think that these days there's a bit of a self-imposed Big Brother thing that people do these days. That I'm
kind of guilty of that too.
I don't really see the benefit. I mean, again, like for beginners, you asked, right? Like I don't really see and maybe that's just me being old and grumpy, but I can't really see that helping you in your I mean, that's how people relate to others these days, but I don't really see that really helping people in getting better or at what they do and that kind of stuff. So I would say try to post it, but don't be too attached to like how people would react and the likes and the comments and all that. Sure. Kind of like be more free and kind of like it kind of goes back to like try to not really follow trends and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think those are maybe like my words for beginners, I guess. And again, like I said at some point when we were talking, like trust that you will get better. Like kind of like be patient, basically. Like just keep doing it. Like yeah, it's a process, exactly. And again, be patient is something that social media doesn't really help with as well, because it's always about the next post and what you do, and like and then life's not about it. Like in your career, shouldn't be about it. And I think the less it is, the better it will be, I guess. Kind of like, just try to experience things out of your screen.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
So I think we have to say goodbye for now. But for those who are new here, FODAcast, this podcast is not just telling, it's about showing too. So Henrique will come back on the part 2, where he will show some of behind the scene of some of his latest projects. So if you're just listening to that, make sure to visit the YouTube channel, because you've been there, you can listen to that, you have to see it. So I think in 2 weeks or something, Henrique will be back and showing some behind the scenes of his latest works. And I guess the second time is better, right, Henrique? So we talked a lot. It was really fun. I wasn't nervous.
Yeah, it was awesome. No, it was amazing. So good to chat and like that.
I mean, thank you so much.
Can't wait to open the projects and show some keyframes and see how messy it is behind the scenes.
I think it'll be awesome, because of the first time I was really impressed. I mean, you probably make me want to do cel animation, because I was only admired before that. So
that's awesome.
Thanks again for being such a cool guy and making this happen for the second time.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Yeah.
And sorry for wasting your Saturday morning.
Oh, that's okay. It's a good Saturday morning. Yeah.
Cool. So I guess I'll see you on the part 2.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.